Hello and welcome to the video. It's Valerie and I figured I'd make a video for this because a lot of people have asked me through text messages, through messages, and really honestly I haven't replied back to anybody. No, I haven't replied back to some people and I'm sorry, but I just didn't want to repeat myself, and I know as soon as you reply back to someone, they always have more questions, and that's fine. I probably would too, especially if it was somebody that I cared about. And or you're curious because you might be the first person that you know that had COVID or anything like that. But yes, this video is going to talk about us having COVID, who tested positive, the symptoms that we had, how we're doing, things like that. I'll probably keep this up to view for like a couple of weeks and just take it down. I kind of like my videos as memories. This is my creative outlet. It's my memory bank. It's experiences and things like that, and I just don't really care to have this as one of them as of right now. It could stay up, I don't know, right now, but I do think I'm gonna take it down. To be quite honest, I think I'll take it down. Let's see. I basically want to talk about all of those things and make this video shorter. I videotaped this video the other day, fun fact. Fun fact number 2, I threw this on yesterday to go bring the kids to their dad's house, and when I came home I took it off and I liked it so much that I put it on today. So today is Saturday and outfit worn 2 days in a row. Anyway, let's see. Me, Randy, Ethan, and Gavin all went to Florida, and we left on a Friday evening, got there on a Friday night, came home on a Sunday, but not the Sunday following that, the Sunday after that. So a total of 10 days if you count the day that we traveled there and the day that we traveled home. And the day that we traveled there, we just drove there. And the day we traveled home, we just traveled home. So really, honestly, I can't say that we got it on either one of those days because of that reason, but it was a 10-day process. So with that being said, we could have caught it 4 days prior to going to Destin. And really honestly, I couldn't tell you exactly what I was doing on those 4 days besides packing and being home. I don't really remember specifically going anywhere those days. I could have, probably if I went to my social media, maybe I could tell, I don't know. But with that being said, a lot of people gave me slack about going to Florida, and I could have caught it in Florida. Anybody that I was around in Florida, none of them were sick before we went, was sick while we were there, or was sick after we left. So unless anybody that had it was asymptomatic and anybody that they lived with was asymptomatic, then I honestly do not know where we got it. Now, things that we did in Florida, because people are like, well, what did y'all do in Florida? Or some people don't realize that they go, maybe it was because, you know, it was in a condo with y'all in an elevator. No, we didn't stay in a condo. We stayed at a family friend's house. It's a family of 4, so there was 4 other people who obviously live in this house on a normal basis that we stayed with. None of them, again, was sick before, during, or after our stay, and all 4 of them, they had a beautiful outdoor pool area and they had their own boat. So anything that we did when it comes to boating to the pool area, it was all done through them. It wasn't like we were using like a public place to rent a boat or to interact with people to get the boat, or the boat was driven by anybody else recently. So that was a major plus in the fact that it eliminated a lot of the things that maybe somebody might think, well, you got it from here. We only did outdoor things. The only indoor thing that we technically did was we went to go eat at a restaurant, and while we were there, and we waited and we got a specific room just for us. So it wasn't even like there was tables near us. It was just walls, and we used hand sanitizer, and there was only one waiter, and they wore a mask, things like that. If we went inside of a Walmart, we went inside of a convenience store or anything like that, we wore a mask. We are mask wearers. So with that being said, we did that. We did go to Crab Island, and there were times where we were around 1 or 2 couples at the same time with the same couple that we were staying with. And I did feel comfortable doing that, you know, to be around 4 people or 6 people. And typically those times were not even with the kids. It was in the evenings. We would go places. And if there was any time where me and Randy thought that there was too many people around and we were so close to people, me and Randy would have gotten an Uber, we would have went home, we would have said we didn't feel comfortable, something. So there was never any one of those moments. The only times that stuck out to me as being slightly uncomfortable or that we second guessed it all was one night we went to like the harbor walk, and there are a lot of people who were up in that area, and there's not a lot of people wearing masks, but from far away it looks like a lot of people, and when you get in closer, really honestly, people are really far away. I mean, people might have walked by us for a brief second, but they were closer than 6 feet, but not really, because we picked a table that was up against a railing, so nobody really could walk anywhere behind us. And we were in an area where it wasn't a walking path, so we just got in that little area and we stayed there. And there was a little band playing. We got drinks from an outdoor bar. We used hand sanitizer. I had portable Clorox wipe packets in my purse. I wiped the table down. I did anything that I could to make sure I was at least trying to protect myself and still enjoy my vacation I didn't want to go into indoor places. I didn't want to go to indoor bars. I didn't want to be in big crowds. And I really think that we did a really good job of that. So with that being said, I don't know where we got it. Again, there was a couple that met us out that night, and a different night that we went somewhere else, another outdoor little area, which was even less people, like way less people. There was another couple that met us then. And that leads me into the 4th of July. The 4th of July, we did the Trump boat parade with them. They were going to go do it, and pretty much any of the few couples that we've seen here, there, and around that week were going to be on the boat. And so at this point, we made the decision, either we're going to leave beforehand or we were going to stay for the festivities. And we stayed for the festivities for the simple fact that, to me, and Rennie is the one agreed, is that all 3 or 4 of these couples that were going to be around throughout that day, we had already been around within the last few days anyway, just separated. And so some of them were on the boat, and then at evening, the ones that were on the boat and 1 or 2 other couples came over that night to their house. Again, we were outside of their house. And me and Rennie really kind of like stuck to ourselves, because even though they knew us, some of us have met us plenty of times, but at the end of the day, these people lived together in this area in Destin all the time, and so they hang around each other all the time. So of course they had some conversations with us, but really we just kind of like hung out and we ate, and I really felt comfortable doing that. So that is that spiel. And I figured I would put it in here because, to me, I think we took a lot of precautions. Could we have taken more precautions? Obviously. I know people who have done way more stuff and not got sick, and I know people who have done nothing but go to a grocery store and get sick. With that being said, I still don't know where we got it, because I don't know anybody who has it. And it was like anybody we were around was a family of 2, 3, 4, and none of them had it. So let's talk about when our symptoms started and who had what symptoms. I'll start with the fact that, and yes, I still have a slight cough, but technically I have asthma and I cough on and off through the whole entire year before coronavirus ever existed. And so I don't really count. Really, honestly, my cough isn't what truly was the worst. It was other things, and I'll get into that. But I'm going to go with people who had the least or no amount of symptoms up in our family, to where I could quickly get through them. And not only that, but the kids obviously are going to be at the bottom of that, well, the top of that list, I guess you should say. Nicholas wasn't with us, but he did get tested when we got tested. I'll talk about when we got tested and what I think of the test as well. But his work made him get tested. He got tested and he was negative, but they wanted him to stay at work for an extended period of time anyway, and they wanted him to get tested again to make sure he was still negative, and he's waiting on those results. He'll get them in the next 3 days. He technically doesn't have symptoms. So that's Nicholas. Gavin is the next one up because he was with us and he had a slight cough. But besides that, he did say he lost some taste and smell, but I think because other people were talking about how much they were losing taste and smell, he was like, yeah, I think me too. I kind of think that he manifested that. There's no way for me to know. He had no fever, he had no cough, he had no congestion. I mean, he did have a slight cough, he had no congestion, no body aches, no temperature, nothing. So the only other thing is that like prior to that, he had a little bit of a rash on his arms, but I really played that off as probably out of all the sunscreens we use, he's got sensitive skin. It probably irritated his arms because it was a lot on the lower part of his arms where his shirts weren't at. And so I don't really think that had anything to do with it, but it could have. Next person is Ethan. Oh, and Gavin is now normal Gavin. And he didn't feel tired or sleepy or anything like that. He's normal Gavin. Ethan, again, he's been normal acting this entire time, although it's very obvious that he had it. And he had a little bit more of a cough. He had some headaches along the way. He lost taste and smell. And I think that's it. But he pretty much felt great. So that's a plus. Now, as far as testing for them two, they didn't get tested. When me and Randy got tested at the urgent care, they didn't want to test children, which bothered me, and especially because they had hardly no symptoms. And at this time, Ethan didn't lose taste and smell, and they both just had a very slight cough. And so they said unless their symptoms were more, just not to bring them in. And in a way, I liked it because we sat there for an hour and a half, and if they didn't get it, but we did, that it kind of protected them. But I really would have liked to have known, and I'll get into that in a little bit because they did end up getting tested, and I'll explain that soon. Now I want to go into Randy. Randy, and their symptoms kind of lingered in as well. There's no like real start date for them at all. I think basically their coughs all started right around ours in the beginning, but Ethan didn't lose taste and smell until a little bit later, like 2 days later. Randy started with a slight cough on Sunday. Very sporadic, but he doesn't cough on a normal basis like I do because I have asthma. So for him to have a slight cough, it did send up a little bit of a flag on Sunday on our drive home. But he kept saying, he's like, well, I have a tickle in the back of my throat. It's not like a cough. It's not like it's not like I'm coughing because I can't breathe. So I didn't think really much of it. But on our way home, I was coughing consistently all the way home. And I don't cough consistently all day long. I typically cough if I'm running up and down stairs, if I'm thinking about coughing, like talking about this, all makes me think about it, or really early in the mornings. So with me coughing consistently, I just kept thinking about it, but everybody was feeling fine. We were all feeling fine. I was slightly tired than normal, but again, it's the day after the 4th of July. We were up late. We were drinking, we were watching fireworks, we were in the sun the entire day. And we woke up early in the morning and we cleaned up the entire house, putting away all the food from the party, picking up everything, organized everything, all the any drinks that were left out, folding blankets on the sofa, fixing their pillows, like doing all the things so when they woke up, even though we were already headed home, that really all they had to do was like sweep or mop. I wanted to make sure that I contributed because you know, when somebody's hosting you at their house, you don't want to leave them with all the work. And we were there, again, for 10 days, if you count the day that we got there and left. So, you know, I like to be a good friend. And so, me being tired, I kind of contribute to all of those things. I do think that it was part of it, but I also think that it was the onset of my, me and Randy's symptoms. So then come Monday morning, Randy was really feeling fine, and he was like, and he wasn't really coughing anymore. You know, through the night I didn't hear him coughing. I don't remember it, although I did knock out when I got home, like completely. And typically I'm a light sleeper, so for him to be doing all the things that he was doing and me not wake up, now I know that my symptoms started on Sunday, but I didn't see it then and think about it then. It kind of took all the other things to keep happening to be like, and now this, and now this. So Monday he heads to work and he's like, I'm gonna go to work. He says, I just don't think that you're feeling all that great. And I was like, I'm just so tired, I don't even want to get out of bed. I'm like, my whole body hurts. And I was like, I don't think that you should go to work. And he's like, he says, if I end up having anything where I have to go around people, I'm just gonna have to tell him I have to go home. Because typically he doesn't work around anybody, and he didn't. So while he was at work, there was a drive-through testing site, and this is time one where Randy wanted to get tested. but the line was too long and he was at work, so he didn't go. At lunch he tried to go, but they were at a test. By lunchtime though, he was already feeling worse. His body was hurting and he just didn't feel good. By the time he got home, he had fever on Monday. So Randy had fever. Tuesday he woke up early and he went to, I couldn't go with him. I was like, I can't go. So I was like, if you have it, I have it. So I wasn't worried about getting tested so much as just knowing if I had it. So he went and he stood in line and he got his test and he got there almost an hour early, and it took him exactly 2 weeks. This Monday is when he got his test. He went on a Tuesday. So Tuesday to Tuesday, Tuesday to Monday, he finally got his test results and they were positive. But on top of that, Wednesday morning, he woke up, he had no taste and smell. He got very cranky about that because I figured I'd add this into the video. Randy, Ethan, and Gavin all got very sick in February, February-ish, during Mardi Gras, whenever Mardi Gras was this year. I don't even know anymore. This whole year has been a fuck fest. They all got very, very sick. Randy, it wasn't the flu, rattling in the lungs, fevers, long times out of school, missing work, going to urgent cares, can't find the answers. Randy lost taste and smell completely, all of this. So when he lost taste and smell this time, he was just like, again, he was just so mad. And we kept saying back then, when the COVID started, we didn't think that that's what it was. We thought maybe, and then when they said the taste and smell, loss of taste and smell was a thing, then we thought that's probably what this was, that nobody knew what it was. Because, I mean, when you get sick, sometimes taste and smell gets a little off, but like, it's nothing. You smell nothing, you taste nothing. And Randy couldn't taste anything and couldn't smell anything. I, at that point, realized I didn't have any smell. Ethan lost his the following day, on Thursday. That night, he realized he didn't have smell and he was losing most of his taste. I didn't lose my taste. I lost like part of it for one day. Like things tasted really odd, but I could still taste things. I did lose smell for a couple of days. So Randy was determined to then go get tested. So he found a place that could tell him sooner. And he was home. He wasn't going back to work. He was going to take out the 2 weeks that he was supposed to take. But me and him went to an urgent care. Same one I talked about earlier. We got tested. We got test results back 3 days later. We both tested positive. The test sucked. It hurt. And I didn't like it whatsoever. They took out a couple of my brain cells along the way. So, you know, that's that. But that's all the symptoms that Randy had. He had fever for 2 or 3 days, and his cough basically, as soon as it came, it went, and he lost taste and smell for a couple of days, and he was tired and achy for a couple of days, probably around the fever time. But like 2 or 3 days, like after like that third day, like day 4, Randy was like perfectly fine, 100% acting like himself, felt like himself. You know, if he was still contagious, I have no idea, but he was at home. He was great. So really, honestly, even though the boys had a slight cough and stuff, they also were great. Let's get on to me. I had it the worst. And I kind of think that maybe I had it the worst because I didn't get sick back when they got sick. I really kept myself away from them during that Mardi Gras time when they were sick as much as possible. I even like slept on a sofa and stuff because I didn't want to get sick. And I'm thinking maybe I had it worse this time because I never had it before, and they had it worse at that time, but not this time because their body kind of still has a little bit of immunity to it or something. I don't know. There's no way for me to know. That's just a speculation. Really, honestly, that's all it is. Some other symptoms that I had that like nobody else had, I was extreme tired for it. I don't know days because I didn't really like try to keep track of that, but a good like 2 weeks. By the end of the 2 weeks, I was starting to get back to myself. I could see the difference each day. But for a while, it was just like, every time somebody texts me, it's about the same, it's about the same, it's about the same. Some people I was more blunt with, and some people I candy-coated it for. Like my mom, I candy-coated things a little bit more because she'll freak out about everything. If you don't answer your phone, she thinks you're on your way to the hospital. Like, it is, like, you have to reply back to her. And so I was very, very weak feeling. I was extremely dizzy and lightheaded. It wasn't my oxygen levels. All of his oxygen level was perfect. Like the lowest moment was 95. And to be honest, that was for like a split second. I did it again 2 minutes later and it was 98. And then it was 99, it was 97, it was 98. And we kept checking it every hour just to make sure that it wasn't going down and back up. We wanted to keep an eye on that because I have asthma and because that's a telltale sign that if your oxygen level starts dropping, that you may end up having to go to the emergency room. So we just were trying to be careful. What else did I have? I talked about my taste and smell. I did not have fever. The only person that had fever was Randy. They told us at the test site that it was 10 days from the first sign, or you could count the 10 days from your test results. And either way, we've already surpassed both of those things. Like today is day 23, I think. I don't even know. I think today's 22 since the first day that we had symptoms. So technically we should be safe to be around people. Have I been around people? No. Besides the people in my house. I think the closest thing technically to being around people is when I drop off the kids to their dad's house. I stayed really distant with a mask. I completely like cleaned myself off before I went, put on fresh new clothes, which were these, and everything, because like further away from me was his daughter, my ex-stepdaughter, and her baby. But I didn't, even though it's probably safe, I just didn't want to get no touching, no coming in close, no looking or feeling, or just like, oh, look at her, like that was about as much as I would allow myself, because I'm just too skeptical that they don't know what's going on with this shit. So that's our symptoms. That's who got tested from that point, and everybody is now feeling better. The kids have been 100% for a while now. Randy obviously was, and I feel like I am 100%. Like if you hear me cough through the video, you know that I cough. But like I said, that is normal. That's been normal for me. That's been normal for me since January. And that is a normal thing for me. I don't think it's left behind. Now, Nicholas needed a second negative test to go back to work. And so this Thursday, in 3 more days, we should find out if he's negative again. That'll tell me if we passed it on to him, and to know that since he got his negative test before, that he's had it, because I would like to know if there's anybody in my house who's still carrying it. Ethan and Gavin both were also tested at that point, even though they weren't tested before, because I would like to see if they still popping up positive. I also took a test for the second time then, because I would like to know if I'm still popping up positive. Even if we're not contagious, I want to know whether or not we're still positive for COVID. I would like to know that I went to negative, and to know that if I ever was to get sick again, that it wasn't something that lingered in my body, that I went from a negative back to a positive. Whatever at in the future, please God, don't let this happen to me again. I was a miserable, miserable person. And, I had migraines. That was another thing. I had migraines. Oh, and I had tingling in my fingertips. The camera went off. I had numbness and tingling in my fingertips as well. I don't know if it's numbness or tingleness. Like, it was just weird sensations in my fingertips. And that's not normal for me, you know. So that's that. Rennie returned back to work. I still am not working since they shut everything down, although I should be working soon. I feel like I'm forgetting something I wanted to talk about, but I talked about it everywhere as we went and everything like that. But yeah, I'm making this video mostly because I didn't reply back to people. I know people are gonna be like, well, what symptoms did you have? Or did the kids have it? Or did they test positive? Or are y'all all better? And there's always lots of questions, and everybody that I have told was, or like my sister's like, so-and-so waxed, I didn't know what to say. And it's not that I really was like hiding, because I don't have nothing to hide. It's not like I felt like I did anything wrong to get it, and I don't really think I did anything wrong once I got it, or anything like that. It's just a simple fact that while I was sick, I didn't want to reply to any more people than I had to. There's plenty of times I didn't answer the phone for even like my sister or my mom, and I just texted them and said, we're doing okay, we're still doing the same, or if we're watching a movie, we were doing lots of watching movies. to be quite honest, when it comes to like my house and stuff, I think that's what drove me nuts the most, because each day I tried to, when I got up and got me breakfast, while my coffee was making, if I was making myself water, or if I was warming me up something, I would spray the counters down with bleach, wipe them down, wipe down the handles while I was waiting. It took me 2 minutes of time and a little bit of energy, but I knew that if Nick was supposed to use that kitchen behind me, that I knew that the countertops and everything was sanitized. I took all of my, I have these little pads that I use to mop my floors with, and I took the whole little basket, I put it underneath the sink in the kitchen, and each evening, typically, I would soak it in some water, soak it in some disinfectant, and go over the kitchen with it. And quickly over any of like the main part of the house. But like it was like, it's almost like a Swiffer, but it's like these little like towels that slide onto this thing that I have. And I love it because I got so many of them. I could just get 3 of them ready, put one on, I would throw the other 2 on the floor, and then I would just take it out, put the other one on, and it literally would take me 5 minutes, but I felt like I was at least trying my best. Nobody really hangs out on the sofa that much, so I didn't have to worry much about that. But since then, you know, that we're all better, all the pillows have been either steamed, spray sanitized, I've washed all the blankets, I've washed all of our bedding. I'm like, it's kind of like now that I'm all better today, it was like the very front part of my house is like all of my dining room, and it's like a little side room. I went in and I either disinfected or dusted everything. I steam mopped the floors first, and then I used disinfectant wash cleaner to mop the floors with. So like, because I figured that could like stay behind to maybe get anything that could have been there. And then when I finish this, I'm gonna do the same thing to my living room. Tomorrow I'll probably do like a deep clean of the kitchen, and then eventually I'll move on to the kids' rooms. Technically was kind of done, but I want to do like it more hardcore, and so the kitchen and their rooms will be tomorrow, and then I'll eventually get to our room, which really isn't much because it's just kind of like dusting things. The bedding's already been done. It's just a couple little things that need to be like dusted or wiped off, and then I'll steam mop in here. But yeah, I'm trying to make sure that I go through my house and get everything as clean as it possibly can be, and to know that anything that might be lingering, that I'm doing my best to rid my life of this. I do know that we can most probably get this again in the months to come, and we'll continue being safe and continue wearing masks. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe down below. I promise you all my videos will not be talking about this. In fact, this one won't stay up for very long, at least I don't think. But that's what happened for us. I wish we didn't get it. I don't know where we got it. I don't wish to ever get it again. We're all doing a lot better, and that's a plus. But I'm going to get off of this. And so, with that being said, goodbye for now. I am going to go clean up my house. And I'm not going to see if there's any more information about Big Brother. I'm in this on a good note. Big Brother is coming. Big Brother 22 is coming. That is, if anything, that's probably what made me feel better. That, my husband, and my kids. My kids have been gone for 24 hours, and I've already told Ethan that I missed him. It's really weird when you have your kid around 24/7 and he talks as much as you do, and then when he's gone, you're like, I miss his talking with his crazy stories and his theories, his conspiracy theories, and these things that he finds so hilarious. And I'm like, it's not funny. It still isn't funny, but I still miss him. But they'll be home tomorrow probably. And my husband should be home less than an hour if he gets off on time. And we're going to get Popeyes tonight because we tried to get it last night and the line's a mile long. Apparently everybody on Friday wanted fried chicken. So it's like Friday fried chicken day or something. So I'm thinking that Saturday we're going to get fried chicken. Ethan's gonna be so mad. Ethan really likes his Popeyes, but it ain't my fault that he's at his dad's house. Great. Bye. Thank you for watching.